Mswandile, it's over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Tsepiso, and of course, we continue to try and get as much information as possible. Sorry about that, as much information as possible from inside. Of course, these are closed sessions, but we are able to get to understand what is happening. In fact, one of the things that we were really looking out for earlier is this wheeling and dealing between the provinces. That, of course, and also people's own ambitions. And you know, in the ANC, they normally say, if I'm elected. In fact, one of the people I'm going to speak to is the PEC member of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal. Before I get to what is it that they've done as a province to try and advance their position, I'll also get to his position, because I know he himself is also hoping to be the member of the NEC to check if indeed he has enough from across the country to get into the NEC. Mr. Lakimloi, welcome to the SABC. Good to have you. I know that besides you being the PEC member, you're also hoping to be the member of the NEC.
Yes, I'm not a PEC member now.
Oh yes,
but indeed yes. The province has raised, amongst other names, proposed for national inclusion from the province is myself. But we are not lobbying for that. The province itself is doing that. As you just put me, as I was going, wherever I was going now, it's a sheer coincidence. Yes. But indeed, yes, we are available for that.
Yes. Then let's come to the KZN and its position. We know that it's once Zweli Mkhize, and it's been negotiating with a number of other provinces. I think one of the key provinces has been Limpopo. So where are you as KZN with regard to that?
The provincial leadership is handling all of those issues. Of course, it's horse trading now. It's always expected at this hour, on this day of conference, just a few hours before the actual nominations start, that there will be massive horse trading. But at a time like this one, this is when you get to really realize that the delegates come to conference being independent thinkers to a very large extent. They have made their observations and they are now clarified about the directions to which they could propose for and on behalf of their branches, or using the perspective of the entire collective of the provincial delegations that they belong to.
So are you still confident that Zweli Mkhize will emerge here?
It is the position of the province. It is the position we believe that it must resonate, and it is indeed resonating with the conference. The conference mood is already directed in that direction, and I think there is a need, of course, to review the constitution itself. In fact, spells out leadership terms. So there is nothing that we have come here for except to say we are all being called for by the constitutional provision to say the entire term of the NEC has come to an end, and that includes that of the top leadership. So a new leadership will be emerging, even if it's people who were in the previous leadership. According to the constitution, that is new leadership.
As someone who has an experience, particularly from the KZN province, we saw scenes yesterday which some described as not really characteristic of the ANC, when the ANC president was trying to deliver the address, and then obviously the former president walked in, and then some crowds tried to disrupt quite repeatedly, even when they were trying to call them to order. So what's your view? What's happening? So what's your take on that?
The organizational norm, I take that as perhaps the issue of security of the program. The organizational norm is that when the leadership at the helm of the organization, in this case the president, is on the floor, there should be no movement at all, either of people entering or of people leaving until the presidential address has been concluded. It's a sheer misfortune that an incident like those did happen yesterday, more so that some delegates almost disrupted the presentation of the president. That is an uncalled for, and that is unorganizational. So it's something totally alien in the organization, and we condemn it.
So you've addressed your delegates as KZN about that?
Yes, our provincial leadership, led by the provincial chairperson, Comrade Boniso, and of the entire top 5, they addressed our delegation to that effect. And in fact, we are approaching to that. And we are very happy that they did that.
I know that I dragged you from the meeting there, the plenary is still in session. So how far are you now? How close are we to the nominations for additionals?
The processing doing very well. Of course, it is quite a long process now. It is a very intimate process, very integral to the heart of everything that will then occur thereafter. So it's a detailed situation that we are busy dealing with now. And we are still far from getting to a point of nominations.
Yeah, so still adopting those reports?
Yes, we are adopting the rules of the conference, the procedures of conference. We have just passed on the credentials, as it were. So it's a good process.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mloyi.
We are energetic about it.
Thanks. Well, there is Lucky Mloyi there. Actually, I just made a mistake earlier saying the PEC member. He's just been recently the PEC member, so he's now a former. I think he was a PEC member about a couple of months ago. So, and he's been a leader there for quite some time. So, but clearly they are hopeful that their viewpoint will emerge. We are told that the willing and dealing is intense, and it's no longer cut and dried in terms of what will happen. But of course, it depends on who you speak to. Everyone will want to advance their position. So at the end of the day, it is these delegates which are gathered behind me who will determine who is the next president.
Well, thanks for that, Mzwai. No doubt the difficulty is in that some of this is happening behind closed doors, but our team is live at Nasrec and they'll give us the latest developments as and when they occur. And of course, all of this is not happening in a vacuum. South Africans have mixed views about what is happening there at the ANC's 55th National Congress, currently underway in Nasrec. Some are hoping that the conference will have positive outcomes that will benefit citizens, while others are simply not interested.
I've been following the conference, but my view, probably even those of South Africans, is that out of the ANC at the current moment, we are expecting leadership, of which in many issues, as ordinary South Africans, we don't want to see the ANC being found wanting on issues that are supposed to give direction to the whole country.
Me paying attention was to try and see if something would come out of it, but the more I just see on Twitter and social media, I feel like that it's just more about them, you know. I mean, we're in a crisis at the moment with stage 6 and stage 8 load shedding looming, and this conference going on. Provident Gordon should have excused himself and gone to make sure that mess is fixed. I mean, we pay every month, we pay our taxes, we do our bit, they don't do their bit. So with a conference, for me, nothing would come out of there that make me feel like our country is going in a positive way.
We would choose Cyril Ramaphosa. You know, he's a very intelligent man, and he's got the ability to actually run this country intelligently. We don't care what he's done or what they say about him, whatever, but so far we feel confident in his leadership.
I am not following it at all. It is because of the there's a lot happening at the moment concerning ANC, the infights and all of those things. So I think I'm one of those people that have just simply lost interest in the whole thing.
It doesn't gonna change anything. We put it for this 20 years or how many years. We've been the ANC have been singing one song. Up to now, nothing has been done. So we are just tired of the ANC because they are doing nothing. The only thing that they know is to pocket their money to enrich themselves.
I think this conference is for their own benefit, their own good, as their organization. But for us, as the community or the citizens of this country, I don't think it will help us, because the problem with this ANC party, they don't do anything. They don't provide us with service deliveries here in our country. But the problem is, our citizens, they still continue to vote the party that doesn't provide us with the things that we wanted in our life.
Well, that's the views of people who are watching all of this unfold. And of course, to extend it further, to see what's happening on the digital sphere, SABC News social media specialist Tembiso Stole is here with me in the studio. So as you heard what some of the viewers are saying there, Ste, that they really don't care, these people fight too much. And earlier on, we've been speaking to various analysts about this whole issue of what is actually creating this contestation. Is it policies, is it ideology, or is it the organizational structure of the ANC? Something that President Cyril Ramaphosa himself reflected on during his political report. Unity seems to be the buzzword, but I remember as one article said, but has it left the WhatsApp group? I thought it was quite an interesting characterization.
Definitely, TPC, you are correct. Unity, unity, unity. That's what the president has been preaching, the ANC president, Cyril Ramaphosa, even yesterday in his political report prior as well on social media. That's the sentiment that he said, simply saying the ANC must emerge victorious, they must emerge united as the party. But then we are then seeing the cracks. You know, he acknowledged some of the cracks within the party. And let's just reflect on the tweet that he sent.
Yeah, let's put it up, in fact.
A tweet that on Cyril Ramaphosa. While we wait on that, but let's just the one that he spoke about at length was that on corruption, simply saying the ANC will work hard to fight corruption. But then reflecting on the youth, he spoke at length about how important it is for the youth to be active in between. And as you look at that tweet on our screen right now, it's simply saying, representing the youth of the ANC, we must never take for granted the unique opportunity and privileges that we get to be part, to make a meaningful contribution. This is Kulegani, who's in the in Nazareth in the 55th National Conference of the ANC. And this is a sentiment looking into young people, how they are participating. I'm making this reference to also the president yesterday. He spoke at length about the youth and the importance for them to participate in the conference.
And in fact, he hinted at the fact that the character of the organization must now be reflective of the youth. Of course, they are the greater demographic, not only in the country, but the continent. So let's see what people are saying about the Youth League itself, the quality of the cadre.
Yes. Before that, we have Nongeba, who's the ANC Youth League convener. As you can see here, she's with her friends, some of the people there who were part of the Fees Must Fall. You can see they're growing within the ranks. Some of them are currently on the Gauteng MPL. As we move to another tweet, now looking into specifically how the people are responding about the ANC Youth League. Okay, the ANC Youth League of the ANC are the sons and daughters of the ANC delegates.
So that's Nongeba's tweet earlier on. And the next one?
And as we go to the next one now, people are responding to that. They are now simply saying, yes, we hear that there is this talk of the youth. It's important for the youth to partake in the ANC, to be part of decision making. But their sentiment is that they're saying there is no youth in the ANC. Shame, it's just influencers. You'll recall that the ANC hasn't had an ANC Youth League for some time, you know, and the people are simply saying, how are you then going to say you're involving us part of this? As we move to the next week, they're going harsh on the ANC Youth League. They say, there's no ANC Youth League here, and they're then indicating to say the ANC Youth League here at this point in time died during the time of Malema. But looking at this part in terms of now what they are thinking in terms of what the ANC should be looking into, and this is a young person also saying the ANC-led government must play a leadership role in steering South Africa's mixed economy and making sure that everything is aligned in terms of progress in between. And that's what young people are saying, that we as young people, this is what we think, and this is what we think the focus should be, particularly when it comes to the ANC and having young people in the direction that it should be taking as they are busy with those policies.
And it's very interesting because we've seen some of the tweets just broadly actually come out with policy suggestions. Some were talking about waste management, particularly around informal settlements, that there needs to be a concerted effort to deal with that. I saw actually Tito Mboweni tweet earlier on saying the things you got to look out for. You need to talk about the State Bank, I think it was the land, the NHI, ESCOM, some of the major hefty issues out there. But still, I think there was one that I sent earlier on, and
Yes.
I don't know if we still have it.
We don't have to know the screen but I record, but you can reflect
Yes,
on that. Yes,
it was a tweet from Malawi, so it's something that I follow as well. And it was just talking about Nelson Mandela, his ideals, and how if the ANC can't handle it, that it must ship out.
Yeah. It's that, you know, and you could tell that, say, if they can't do it, then of course they then have to move in between. And that's interference. Remember when former President Nelson Mandela said, if the ANC is doing what the apartheid government did to you, then you must do the same thing. And that's that. And that really reflects also to the people on the ground, saying, if the ANC is not going to put us at first, put our matters first before anything else, then therefore, then there should be those reforms in terms of making different decisions. And that's the sentiment in between.
All right, Steph, thank you so much for speaking to us and just reflecting on what people are saying about what's happening at Nasrec. And that's, of course, at the ANC's 55th National Congress. So voting is going to get underway, nominations of the top 6, but the way in which this voting is going to happen this year around is different. We'll talk a little bit more about this after the ANC Elections Committee said that that a report has been adopted, and that also includes the credentials list of people. So more on that in just a moment. We're going to take a quick break. Please stay with us.